Like so many of you, carrying a knife on my person every day is just a way of life for me. So I know it's a bold statement to say when it comes to out the front OTF pocket knives, the BENCHMADE SHOOTOUT is a heavy lifting workhorse and therefore my favorite to carry in the genre. And this is coming from somebody who has owned several OTFs over several years. Let me explain. The first ever that I owned being a Hogue built 4H&K HADRON. This is an awesome tool. I've had it for years. I will never be getting rid of this thing. That is a discontinued color combination, bronze and black. Awesome, awesome blade. Somebody who also owns MICROTECH ULTRATECHs. You know, MICROTECH is known as one of the best OTFs in the industry. So I've carried that in MagnaCut, as well as the great value KERSHAW LIVEWIRE. MagnaCut as well, awesome value. There's a lot to like about this blade as well. So what would cause the SHOOTOUT to usurp these in my desirability of how I use and carry OTFs? And I'm gonna share 3 reasons why, but also 2 reasons why the SHOOTOUT may not be the right OTF for many of you, and some of you just don't like. And I'm gonna highlight both sides of that coin with you guys today. If you're new to the channel, I'm Aaron, this is Gideonstactical, and I can't wait to dive on in with you. So let's hit that first reason on why I really gravitate to these tools and how I use them. It has to do with the blades. Now, there's lots of, not only like, I don't know if it's Cerakote or whatever, coatings, but it's the fact that not only do you get this awesome drop point, which is kind of rare with OTFs. Usually you're gonna get either a form of like a bayonet style, or you're gonna get some sort of like double edge, low grind, designed obviously for piercing is what most OTFs are. These kind of veer away from that, giving you that very high grind, a little bit of swedging, nice slim stock, good tip that is great for piercing, just not lateral. I would not be using this as a crowbar or a pry bar. And arguably, the dagger design tips would have a little bit of beef behind them, a little bit thicker than these. But you get that nice sweeping generic style, or you can get this modified Tonto design, but with a very high slicey grind, little bit of sweep into a sweeping belly of a tip, kind of a modified design with a little bit of a swedge. So not only does it just look cool, but it's very, very functional. So these are much more ground in at edge geometry to be working tools, not stabbing tools. They will stab just fine, but that is, so for me, as someone who is using these as generically and generally, utility, these are much better performers because of the sliciness of the grinds that were chosen on the SHOOTOUT over most other blades. And that definitely sets it apart and giving you good real estate. Coming in at, let's just make sure here, yeah. From the, it's like 3.4 overall, and then like maybe 3.3 actual cutting edge on these guys. But what's gonna be great also is the steel that they chose, which is CPM crew wear. Now I know everyone's about MagnaCut right now. MagnaCut is great. I also adore crew wear. I love it. It is in the D2 family, but it is far superior to like CPM D2, Sleipners, and those type of things. It is gonna be tougher, better wear resistance, and better hardening, meaning that, and BENCHMADE knows how to rock well these things. These, I think if I remember correctly, I saw 63 to 65 on Blade HQ. Crew wear is so easy to resharpen and great wear resistance, will hold a better edge than like 3V. I mean, it's a really, really good steel. The only thing is that it is like a semi-stainless, so it'll rust a little bit more than like MagnaCut and those type of things. So the combination of grind, blade choices that are more utilitarian versus just piercing, and steel, phenomenal, and I totally engage with the usability of these OTFs. Now, in just a moment, we're gonna take a look at one aspect to the SHOOTOUT that you may not be so stoked on, but before we do that, I just wanna invite you to hit that like button. That really does help us go up in the rankings. It's a simple, easy way to support the channel. And if you are not yet a subscriber, I do invite you to hit that subscription button and the bell icon so that you can be notified every week when I put up new videos just like this, breaking down gear and equipment, showing you pros and cons to help you better determine for yourself is it the right tool or piece of equipment for you? It is truly you, the viewers, in tandem with our regular sponsors here at the channel that help me to continue to create content. And I want to take a moment to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is LA Police Gear. And they're running an insane deal right now on Merrell Moab 2 tactical waterproof boots, which are now on closeout and at a new low price. And this version comes not only in mid-top, but also in this 8-inch version that I've been using quite a bit lately as I've been trekking about in the winter conditions in Colorado with a side zipper. Perfect because it's not getting into my socks because of those high tops and their waterproof capability. That's great. And the waterproof leather in conjunction with the Select Dry membrane I've found have really been able to keep the moisture out and let my feet breathe so they don't get clammy. Through the years of different Moab designs that I've had, I've always appreciated the Vibram soles that they're built out of in conjunction with the high grip 5mm lugs that just grab onto whatever terrain I'm trekking through. So these are in stock and in black with tons of sizes to choose from currently, but these are on closeout, so when they're gone, they're gone. So I encourage you guys to check out the link in the description box below this video over to the LA Police Gear website, where you can explore all the features and decide on which design makes more sense for you. And I'll also include my exclusive 10% off promo code you can apply towards your purchase year-round. Now on the reverse, the one thing that many people just don't like about the Shootout is its polymer handle. Now, we'll talk ergonomics momentarily, but the polymer is something that just some people don't really connect with. It seems hollow, feels cheap, and most OTFs are going to have some form of aluminum. So the aluminum feels denser, just feels a little bit more robust, has like a more solid sound on the action because it's not like plastic. So, and you could argue technically, potentially more durable. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna be doing outside of running it over where aluminum might survive and polymer would not. But I totally get that. And to be honest, if they kept the same ergonomics, but made it out of an aluminum handle, I would probably gravitate to that more. But on the converse, it allows for lots of traction points, lots of contouring that you don't always get with an OTF, and it's gonna cut down on weight. These are under 3 ounces. I believe they're 2.8 ounces, which is very lightweight for an OTF. So those aspects are trade-offs, but I get it. Some people just don't connect with the polymer. And if I had a choice and there was a polymer version of the Shootout and an aluminum, I would go with the aluminum. But then if we reverse back to the second aspect that's excellent and that I gravitate to, it's the ergonomics of these knives. Because they are polymer, it's much easier for them to make them like a generic pocket knife. Lots of cut-ins, sweeping, very organic, lots of texture points all over the place on these, but not being aggressive. Fills out my hand very well, easy to engage, easy to pull back. The ergonomics are delicious and nutritious on these blades. Honestly, guys, these far and away surpass the ergonomic feel of like an aluminum brick that like the ULTRATECH is. This thing is just like, I mean, yes, it's all angled and meaning like machined, and that's all good, but it just feels like you're holding on to a brick kind of. Even the LiveWire, which is really well executed for this style, contoured all over the place, and is fine. If you were to ask me ergonomically with a little bit of a cut in, a little flare out the back, warmer to the touch, it just feels so much better, and it's gonna remind you of like a normal pocket knife. You're gonna feel like you're holding on to a Griptilian, let's say, over like a cold metal brick like most OTFs are. So that is a huge selling point to me that I really connect with. And since I hit on it, that ramp right there is just so well executed. They're using both leverage and geometry, meaning that it's a nice high rise versus say you look at a MICROTECH, it's a lot less. You have to push down a lot harder to engage and, you know, use the tool. Whereas this has a lot more to do just with geometry, and you can just literally push forward and it will fire out the mechanism, and then when it comes time to pull back, boom, and it doesn't get in the way. When I'm doing a hammer grip, there it is above the webbing and acts as like a guard for me. If I really want to get up over, it's just like a shelf right there on my thumb, and then if I'm using it in a reverse grip, it's right down there at the bottom part, and I don't even notice that it's there. Now, a few other details before we get to that other downside, negative potentially. You got awesome loop over deep ride pocket clip, ambidextrous, as well as some versions will come with glass breakers. Some will come with now these matching to the firing mechanism loop over like lanyard holes. I gotta know, so leave a comment below. When it comes to the bootay of a pocket knife like this, do you prefer the lanyard hole or do you prefer the glass breaker? And those loop over pocket clips are excellent. Definitely better than like what you're gonna get on the LiveWire. We talked about that in that video. So that's really good. And the mechanism itself is very durable. I did several stab tests to make sure that the tool did not fall off its track, as well as drop testing to make sure that there wasn't any sort of abnormalities or running off the track leading to malfunction. Excuse me. And so didn't see any experience with that. So durability on the mechanism and the firing mechanism is excellent. Firing mechanisms have just held up so well, haven't like slowed down, and I've had these for several months at this point, used them quite a bit. But what about that final aspect? Now, a lot of people call it the butterfly tax, and I totally get that. I'm actually a little surprised. You can score this model as I'm making this video on Blade HQ, this version, for $292, so just under 300 bucks. And again, all the stuff that we're looking at, you know, that's not a bad deal to me. When it starts to get over 300, just for some perspective, the MICROTECH in MagnaCut, this is like $315 to $335, depending on where you pick it up. So a little bit more expensive, but not by much. Whereas for value, the LiveWire right here, that guy with lots of blade shapes and stuff is like $240. So we're talking about like $50 less than these, and you're gonna get that aluminum. And then I believe the HADRON in 154 CM, so it definitely does not have the prestige of some of the other blade steels. Still great, good, but I mean, these are way outperforming in edge retention and often even in durability. I think this guy is right around like 220 to 240, I think, as well. So it kind of sits in the middle. I think a lot of people will just look at it as like, because of the polymer handles, they wish there was maybe like 250. So I get that, but it's still definitely within the realm of like the MICROTECH. And if you're, again, to ask me the two, I've owned both. I'll take these every time over the MICROTECH, just saying, just being honest. And even though BENCHMADE hooked me up with these models, I've also had Blade HQ hook me up with this. So I have no dog in the fight, I don't care. KERSHAW hooked me up with this model. I don't give a rip. I'm just telling you what I actually use. These all have different levels of capability and interest, but of these, because of the aspects. So I'll have links in the description box below to the affiliate networks I regularly partner with, including DLT Trading, Blade HQ, Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and GPKNIVES. Those are great places to find OTFs. And those will all be included for you guys below. But those are the pros and cons of the shootout design that I have found and that have connected with me and that I have realized. And so I look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts though. What is your take on the shootout series? Do you like it? Do you not? Do they make sense for you? Particularly if you carry one, how has it been performing for you? But I've been super impressed, and I will continue to gravitate to these over my other OTFs most of the time because of the data that I've shared with you today. So I do invite you to check out the other video popping up, to subscribe if you haven't yet. And until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.